Alright guys, before we get too deep into today's video, I'm going to talk to you about today's video sponsor, HelloFresh. So HelloFresh has been huge in helping Chrissy and I reach our goals of eating better and eating together, cooking at home more, you know, ordering takeout, no matter what, it gets old. There's not that many healthy options. You just don't feel good about it. You don't. And the problem is we're both consumed by our work. Our work and our passion are one and the same. So we're both just very busy all the time. You know, both of us are working late every single night, and it's hard to get that genuine time together, and it's virtually impossible, as far as we try, to make time to go to the store and get ingredients and plan a meal and cook it, and it hasn't worked for us. The ingredients just go to waste. Whereas with HelloFresh, it's a piece of cake. We save so much time. It's effortless because everything's pre-portioned, everything's pre-packaged, pre-planned. They give you the ingredient card and everything that tells you exactly step by step what the recipe is and how to do it. So we don't have to look it up on our phone, we don't have to write it down, we just stick it to the fridge with a magnet, boom, we both can go check it at any time while we're cooking, bada bing, bada boom, next thing you know, the food's done. And the food is absolutely delicious. They have all sorts of different recipes, and I've never gotten a pack of recipes that I found even one that I wasn't like, dude, I cannot wait to cook that. They're all so good, and I feel way better eating them. You know, we get to spend more time together, we get to eat healthier, we're saving a ton of money, and there's no hassle in doing it. Like, what more did you ask for? So if you're interested in trying it out for yourself, go to HelloFresh.com and use code TaylorDrift16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 surprise gifts. That's HelloFresh.com, code TaylorDrift16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 surprise gifts. I'm telling you, you won't regret it. Everyone I've got to try it has been in love with it, is like just as much as I am. So anyway, that being said, let's get back to work. We got a lot to do, not a lot of time to do. All right, well, today we're not working on the C6 competition drift build because we got to take some time for the old LS Miata. So this thing's been a little neglected, and really it's kind of going to stay neglected. We're just upgrading it. We're not really giving it any love and affection and maintenance. We did an oil change. So basically, if you're unfamiliar, we're building this car for the clutch kicker series that we compete in. So this is a C6 Vet Turbo LS 427 dog box quick change, dry sump, pretty much an all-out build. These cars are pretty much polar opposites. So this car is doing more with less, very, very basic setup. Stock bottom end 6.2 out of an Escalade, aluminum block, stock CD09, stock 488 diff, just cam and springs, makes right around 500 wheel on E. Very good combo. It has done us well, but we decided it was time to upgrade, and we went pretty much full other extreme. But because we've gone so deep with this build, and we took some time to switch chassis, and there were some delays, it's not going to be done in time. There's no chance. We could rush it and get it done in time if we wanted, but you know, we're building this car for the long term, for the years to come. This car, you know, could be competitive if we dial it in and make it reliable pretty much in any level of drift competition. So I want to make sure we build it right. Luckily, we still got the old LS Miata here. Now, the new track that we're competing on, the Freedom Factory for clutch kickers, is a bank track. And of course, the first round is a banked layout. We're gonna have some that don't run on the bank, but of course this one is a banked layout. Now this car can do it, but it's not 100% dialed to be competitive on the bank. So I run 225 Nitto NT01s. And I mean, we've put these tires up against cars on 285, 100 tread wear, 285, 200 tread wear sticky tires, and this thing keeps up no problem. It has plenty of grip. On a small track, that's fine. However, on a big track, it's not enough power. Now, if we were gonna run this car all season, there are some changes I would make, and we probably wouldn't even need nitrous. But the problem is our gearing. So with our current gearing, third gear goes to 88 miles an hour, fourth goes to 114. So it's a huge gap. So to do the bank, if I do it in third, the wheels aren't spinning fast enough for me to draw a wide line and go up and ride the wall. But if I do it in fourth, the car doesn't make enough power. Even with much less grippy tires, it still struggles and bogs down in fourth gear. Now, if we could dial in the wheel speed to say 95, 98, 100, we could probably run it gripped up and ride the wall and have enough power. But we don't have that option. We don't have a quick change like we do in this car. We're kind of stuck with the gearing. Now, we know that that should work because we did drive this car on these tires pretty much fully aired down unintentionally at a comp, and it did it. It was incredibly fast. like a rocket ship. It made it with the grip. With in third gear, we couldn't ride the wall. That's what we're gonna fix. Since we can't fix the gearing because our gearing is good for most of the other tracks and most of what we do with this car. I don't wanna change it just for hopefully the only round that we're gonna use it to compete while we finish this car. Another solution is just add more power. So that's what we're gonna do. We have a Nitrous Kit from NOS. So we got this on Holley's website. I've talked about it before, but man, Holley is my go-to site for ordering parts. If I need something, I check there first, and usually they have it, or they make it, or they have a company that makes it. So classic NOS kit, the classic bottles, makes me feel like I'm back in Fast and the Furious. So this is pretty exciting. We got both bottles filled. We've got the brackets. We've got solenoids. Now we are going to run this on a dry setup, but basically we just need to get this installed in the car, get it wired in, get it tuned in, and then we're gonna go try it out. So that's the plan. Let's, I guess we'll work on mounting the bottle first and then go from there. All right, well, we have been hustling on this thing. We're in a bit of a rush, kind of last minute Larry. This private day that we're going to tomorrow, so as you can see, it's almost dark out. We're going tomorrow. You get the idea. It kind of popped up, and it's hard to find them in good time frame. We needed one before Clutch Kickers, which is in a week and a half, so I was like, all right, we'll just have to hustle and get the car ready. So that's what we're doing. A little bit of last minute Larry on my end because I got all the stuff to build the turbo kit for this car, the blocks for the headers and the tubes, and I was really excited. I really wanted to start on this, so I kind of procrastinated on this, and here we are, one of those things, but we're getting it done. So far, we've got the solenoid installed. We've got the lines routed. We've got everything wired up. So basically, we're controlling this through the terminator. So the terminator is going to turn the nitrous on during a given prerequisite. So I think we have it as 85% throttle above 3,500 RPM. The nitrous will turn on. We have our arming switch here. Now, I wanted to do this through the PDM switch pad too, but I don't have any more outputs left, and they're all power outputs, so I'd have to switch what input I use on the Holley and yada, yada, yada. So I wired it to here because I'm gonna get another fog light switch to go here, and that'll be our arming switch. So that'll be pretty trick, and it'll blend in. We don't gotta drill a hole and put a switch somewhere. So since Ben's used Miata parts, is coming tomorrow, my buddy, he's gonna bring me a switch. So we'll throw that in tomorrow. That's just temporary. But yeah, that's done. So the wiring is done as far as I know. We still got to test it. Josue is doing the absolutely amazingly fun job of mounting the nitrous bottle brackets. While he's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and change the plugs. So we have a pretty hot plug in here to take advantage of running E85 since we normally run this motor on E and it's NA. Now, ironically, I think the last weekend was the last time I've ever ran this car on pump with this combo, which has been 2-3 years now. And of course, running around, going getting the bottles filled, so on and so forth. Didn't have time to go get E, so we're gonna be running it on pump gas. The first time we run it on nitrous. It's kind of silly. Should be fine, but we need to change the plug. So we got a hot plug for no nitrous, so we got to put some colder plugs in. Now, luckily, I got a whole batch up here for the turbo truck. So those are the plugs we normally run, TR55s. These are BR7EFs, so these are 7. Luckily, I like to keep these on hand in the event that we need them, which is, you know, it happens. So I'm gonna get these plugs swapped in. Definitely don't want to forget to do this. We can't last minute Larry this because things will go wrong. So this is where things start to go a little bit wrong. Now, I'm always very careful when I tighten my plugs. You know, maybe probably in my younger days I would over tighten them, but I definitely learned my lesson. I just snug them up. It's kind of like an oil filter. It always ends up being tighter when you go to take it off than when you tighten it. So I'm always careful. Well, for whatever reason, these plugs were insanely tight. Insanely tight. Way tighter than they should have been. It made absolutely no sense at all. So I'm going through and I'm fighting each one of them. You know, this should be a simple, quick job. It is a little tricky with the long tube headers. This shouldn't be that much of a struggle. But man, we're 5 minutes into getting the second plug out. So things don't go great. All right, well, last night was a bit of a mad rush at the end. Went to change the plugs, 2 of them, really difficult. The number 2 broke off. This one came out like it was cross-threaded. Now, I'm always real light when I install my plugs, so they all had a little corrosion on the tip. I don't know if that was the problem, but it gummed up the threads on like 2 of them real bad. We managed to get the broken one out. It was not fun, but we persevered. I almost called it, but it's always a solution. It's one thing I've learned. So we fixed it. We got new plugs in it. We chased the threads. We cleaned it up. All is well. Nitrous is installed. So we need to throw the bottle in and go give it a shot. So fingers crossed it all works like it should. Also managed to break our coolant temp sensor before I loaded it in the trailer, or when we loaded it, I noticed that it just bent the pins. So it's been a couple days, not the best. All right, well, we're gonna give this a shot. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit nervous because things have not been going as intended. So that first little rip around, it definitely seemed like the nitrous wasn't working. So I wanted to go to a more controlled environment, go out on the oval, do some straight line pulls. When you're drifting and you're in the moment, it's hard to tell the difference, you know, between 100 shot and not having nitrous, and you know, tires come into play and how much grip the track has. So I'm like, let me go out on the oval and just see what this thing feels like in a straight line. I'm pretty familiar with what it feels like. It doesn't feel like it's working, but I'm having a hard time telling because the car makes good power. So it's not like that 100 horsepower is gonna be super drastic anyway, but we pull back off, look at the laptop, and I think I figured out the problem. All right, had the wrong output set up. So we take it back out on the oval again, and same thing. It definitely feels like it's not working. I kept starting in second, and in second the car definitely has enough power to spin the tires. So I tried to do it in third, and even still, you can tell it's the same as it was before. All right, take 6. Action. The inputs were in the wrong spot, my inputs. Let's try this again. So after resorting to literally switching it on and off mid-run, I finally figured out it was working. Okay, it's definitely working. So now that we knew it was working, we decided to just go have some fun, no nitrous, not waste it, not put wear and tear on the car, and just go do some tandems. Nothing's better than tandems with Ben and the Miata. It's so fun because normally when you get to tandem with someone in virtually identical cars, they're slower, lower horsepower cars like a stock Z. But to tandem in high horsepower, fast cars that are very similar it's so much fun. So we have some fun. It's important. So I did do a run or two on the skid pad with the nitrous on. I did also go back and test on the oval just to be 100% sure, but it really didn't make any difference on the skid pad. The skid pad doesn't have a lot of grip, and even with the grippy tires, the Nitto NT01s, the car makes enough power with the gearing it has to just spin the tires up no problem. So with the nitrous on, it really made no difference. It just, you could spin them up a little faster. But so we didn't really want to waste it, and again, we didn't really want to put the wear and tear on the car. So we knew it worked. That was good enough for us. Just had some fun and called it a day. All right, well, we made it back from the event. Car did solid. We had a little bit of struggles there in the beginning with the just the pin outputs and stuff. Just I had it mapped wrong to the wrong output and blah, 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 blah. But we got all that sorted. We got it working. It was hard to tell for a bit there if it was working just because the car already makes enough power to blow the tires off. So it's like, did it blow the tires off more easily? On the skid pad, you almost pretty much couldn't tell at all. But doing some straight line pulls on the oval, you could definitely tell it was working. Everything was good. So might add some updates to it. Might do a pressure gauge to the Holly and a bottle heater. That would be nice because it could do it on its own. But we'll see if we have time for that. We do need to go through the car front to back. You know, it hasn't got the love it deserves because I wasn't really planning on competing with it. But now that we are, it's like, oh crap, yeah, we really gotta. This thing's it's lived a hard life and it hasn't got a lot of love lately. It's just been going and going and going. But hey, it works. We got the nitrous on it. I think this thing's going to be an absolute weapon with the Nitto NT01s that we ran last year in a 100 shot. I mean, we can bump it up to a 125 if we were really feeling froggy, but we'll see. We'll see. So anyway, I think that's going to wrap us up for the nitrous install on the LS Miata. I hope to see you guys next time. We got to get back to hammering out the vet. Even though we're going to use this thing for round one, the deadline of round two will come up quicker than we know it if we don't keep our heads down and keep hustling. So I hope to see you guys for that. But for now, that's going to be it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Goodbye.